So welcome back. So if you take slokas from 18, okay, 18, 19, 20, 21, all these are related to intellect and knowledge. In psychological aspects, in exact terms given by Krishna, they are related to Atma. So we are considering them to be the knowledge. So when you consider this 23rd sloka, sir, can you read it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 23rd sloka.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we finished 18, 19, 20, all that?
Yes, now that's what I'm saying. It's all related to only knowledge and intellect. It all means
Okay.
the same, just saying like, knowledge is forever. Okay. If you just go through their meanings, it is all similar meaning. Rest all are temporary, knowledge is permanent. So
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
नैनं चिन्दिन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैवं क्लेदयन्त्यासो न तोषयति मारुतः नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैवं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न तोषयति मारुतः. Okay, ma'am.
So there is no weapon that can kill this knowledge. So once you really have a knowledge, so which we call it as a knowledge is not like, when we are sure about some concepts, some theories, then we will call like we have knowledge of it. And once you have knowledge of it, you will be very much confident about it. So once you are confident about the knowledge which you are having, nothing can kill it, nothing can diminish it, nothing can banish it. So that is what is Krishna saying about. So let me say example. When your child was 1 year, he broke a glass. You felt bad about it, but were you angry about him? No, you did not react at him because you are aware a child is not aware of that and child can break anything. It's my problem that I did not take care of that particular glass. But if the same child, he'd have the same behavior at 10 years of age, how do you react to it? So why you are reacting at that point and why you are not reacting at this point is because you have a clarity about the behavior of child. And when you have clarity, you are accepting the other person. In the same way in the life also, a dog barks. A foolish fellow can talk anything. So when you are aware of such things, do you react to them? You will not react. If at all it's a race, you don't know, you may win it, you may fail in it, you may succeed, you may not succeed, you are not sure of anything. So when you know race is only a probability and a chance, when you are completely aware of it, you will not react and you will just wait and watch for that and you will focus on the behavior. So your thoughts will not keep varying. When your thoughts don't vary, your emotions will not vary. When your emotions don't vary, your behavior will not vary, and then you will get the exact result which you expect to be. So what we have to focus is always improving the knowledge. So knowledge doesn't mean any knowledge is knowledge. What you want to improve in, you have to gain knowledge into that particular area. Knowledge is unlimited. Knowledge is spread. See, it can be related to science, social, it can be related to GK, computers. Anything knowledge is unlimited. But we have to choose one area where we want to improve ourselves and we can start grabbing that knowledge. And once we seek the knowledge, like nothing in that particular aspect bothers us. If you recall, the area which you perform very well, if you are a trainer, if at all you are HR, if I give you your subject presentation at this moment, will you worry about it? You will not worry because you have sound knowledge about that particular aspect. Any time, any place I ask you to talk about it or deliver a lecture, it will be very easy for you because you are confident enough. In the same way, when you have knowledge about yourself, when you have knowledge about what you are supposed to do, your duty, then any kind of small events that sound as disturbance in between will not bother you anytime. So there is no such weapon that can just hit your knowledge. So focus on your knowledge is what Krishna is asking all of us to do. Right. 24th sloka.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
अछेद्यो यमदान्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो सोच्ययेव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणो अचलोऽयं सनातनः अचेद्यो यमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो सोच्ययेव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणो अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
So here Krishna is saying, like, as he mentioned in the previous sloka, it is almost similar, but what he's saying here is like, it cannot be wetted, it cannot be dried, knowledge cannot be done anything by anything else. It is very ancient one. So let it put in this way, sun rises in the east. It is a fact. And I have gained that knowledge. So sun rises in the east is common for me, you, or anyone on this universe, because it is fact. So the knowledge in such a way that it will not change from one person to another person, one state to another state. So knowledge is always stagnant, it is stable, it is very ancient. How many years may change, the knowledge which we gain from a factual things will never change. As we discussed about the water, actually. Water is important, air is important, without which we cannot survive. It is fact. Today I come and I need not make any special research to understand that, like, air is important for survival. In the same way, what a child needs, what a spouse needs, what as being a parent I should need, what are my duties. So once you gain knowledge about it, particularly your situations or like any events in the life or any peer group influence will not influence you at all. So what is important for all of us is to have such factual knowledge in the life. Knowledge is not just what we analyze, it is what actually is. Again, what happens is, like, most of us will get influenced. See, we have our own interpretation of something and we call it as knowledge. And we start behaving as per our knowledge and we start blaming others. Out of that, the troubles will automatically come. Let me say you 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It is a fact, it is a knowledge. But you assume 2 plus 1 is equal to 4 and you will not get 4, then you will start struggling. So we should be always in search of the proved knowledge, which is the fact. And fact will never change. And even the person change, the generations change, or someone comes and say it is not fact also, things will not change. So you have to always hold to such facts. Knowing fact is important. Living in fact is important. But we live in memory or imagination. So stop living in imagination and memory and stop living in the facts. The facts is what I am supposed to do right now. What I am supposed to do and what I am supposed to do right now. That's why Krishna insists on Swadharma. In the second chapter, when he started Arjuna, he wanted to just motivate Arjuna. He initiated with Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, it is your priority. So being a human being, we have multiple roles to do as a parent, spouse, manager. Professional roles are there, personal roles are there. So coming to personal roles, what is your first priority? As a mother, it's your first priority. As a wife, as a husband, or as a mother-in-law or father-in-law, whatever role you are playing, go with priority wise and start doing your dharmas so that you will never regret for anything and no negative emotions will start bothering you. Done? I guess you guys are taking bit time to understand it. So actually we have 26. 4 plus 5. We have 11 more slokas to discuss, which we will discuss in the next week. And till now, if you have any queries, please take 5 minutes to ask me. Or else kindly spend this week on analyzing what we have discussed and come up with the doubt so that it will be very easy for all of us to understand it in a better way. You understood everything or you did not understand anything? Your silence.
Silence means different things.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me understanding each sloka, 2.1 2.3 or 2.15 or 2.14 or 2.23 as a standalone shloka, I might have understood. But how do I make sense out of all of these as a summing up, right? Assuming that I'm going to talk about chapter 2, which is emotions, right? I want to make sense out of all of these that we have learned and say if I were to be given an hour to present on emotions, how do I prepare for that?
Okay.
What are some of the things that I can bring into the table?
The second chapter is not completely about emotions. Second chapter includes about the intellect and knowledge, which covers from where the Krishna started speaking about the soul. From that point, we are discussing about the importance of intellect and knowledge. Okay, and comes another important aspect, here he's talking about the influence of indriyas. He's talking about the perishable and imperishability. There we are talking about the emotions which are happening because of the events in the life. Okay.
If I were to ask you, say I want to prepare for an hour session. Say I want to give it to all of you. Okay, I want to present to all of you as to what my learnings are. So ideally, my learning around chapter 2 are emotions, intellectual capability or cognitive capability that we use, and around the knowledge and your indriyas and panchendriyas or panchabhutas, and of course the knowledge as a large thing, right? I will not get into the soul and atma because that is where I again get lost, right? So I will keep that out of
But you should
the
understand that
window.
if someone asks you a question, in this particular chapter, Krishna is talking about Atma, then you should be in a position to understand where we are replacing Atma with knowledge. Okay, where we are replacing the other stuff with this kind of events and emotions in our life, we should be clear about.
Okay.
Okay.
So, if I want to do that, how should I navigate in this process? What are some of the things that I should be mindful of while I prepare for something like this?
So that is the reason. First, we have to understand the Gita, and that's why every topic has connected slokas in first chapter, second chapter, and third chapter. If you take related to mind, we have connection in the second chapter. At the same time, we have connection in the third chapter as well.
Okay.
Because the entire Gita is connected to mind itself.
Okay.
Because anything, whatever we learn, unlearn, relearn, anything happens only in the mind, right? So whatever he's preaching us, it is happening only in the mind at the conscious, subconscious, or superconscious level. But overall, it's happening at that level, right? So when it is happening at that level, complete Gita is relevant to it. But in mind, whether we are talking about the duties we are doing, or whether we are talking about acts we are doing, or emotions, then we are splitting that and taking the connected slokas into that part. Okay, so when we talk, what is the importance of knowledge? So let me say, suppose I am delivering a lecture. I did not get enough appraisal. I start feeling bad. Okay, so feeling bad is a negative emotion, which we call which is not a moksha sthiti. What is moksha sthiti? Is a happiness state. So whenever I'm not in a happiness state, I'm always asking Krishna, how can I be happy, right? That is the overall essence in the Gita. So whenever I ask Krishna why I'm not happy, now what is the problem? I'm not happy. I did not get my appraisal when I did my duty. So that is the reason Krishna said stop expectation. So this here my problem goes and gets connected with the expectation slokas. If at all tomorrow about my interview, I'm getting worried and getting nervousness and panic, I am going and connecting with my indriyas because my indriyas are motivating me to imagine that I may not perform good tomorrow. So how to take control over my indriya? So we have to go and connect to that sloka at that particular time. So everything, every emotion or every state has a different sloka connected to that. Now you may ask me, suppose, yeah, why I'm reacting. See, I feel like, I presented my level best, but I did not get the required appraisal. Why I am feeling like, my belief system is like I did something, I should get appraisal. Why I'm having that expectation is I believe that everyone will appraise. Once I believe everyone will appraise, it's my stupidity that I don't have knowledge that this is a world where everyone will not appraise the work whatever we are doing. Everyone will have their own opinion. That is a fact. That is knowledge. So once I have knowledge, will I really expect like from everyone? I will not expect from everyone. So why my expectations are coming? Because I lack knowledge.
Correct.
So that's why Krishna insists in the second chapter about this Atma, which we are connecting with the importance of intellectuality and knowledge. And intelligence grows once we have knowledge with us.
Okay.
Without knowledge, intelligence will not improve. Intelligence is like, the way of thinking. The logically, how logically we can think. But unless we have the data, we cannot progress it right further. So we should not think like, Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 I'm going to explain, chapter 2 I'm going to explain. If at all you want to make it as a training module, you have to choose the topic, and for that, what are the connected slokas you have to pick them up. They can be in any chapter. Or else if at all you want to purely talk about Gita, then pick wise chapter wise and you can give enough information about each chapter. Done?
Right. I definitely would reach out to you to create something of this own just from a learning perspective, right? If I had to pick a certain topic, say goal setting, what all can I pick from each of these chapters? Which all sloka can I connect? How do I draw that? I mean, right now I just have the dots, right? I don't know where to connect those dots and which dot to connect to what, right? So that's something that I want to learn, but I'll certainly connect with you offline to get this understanding and to start working, right? Else, I think this whole learning will fall flat if I don't navigate to that level.
So it again needs like, I just request you all once again go through Gita, and whenever you are reading each sloka, like, what points are triggering your mind, try to interconnect them with what you have learned in these sessions and like, maintain converse so that you will come into one picture.
Correct. Yeah,
because,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because like, just a single reading is not sufficient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we feel like we understood everything, but again we feel like we did not understand anything. So we have to keep learning, keep reading, and keep analyzing the things so that we will be in the proper term.
Yeah, point taken.
Yeah, madam.
You.
Madam?
Yeah.
Ma'am, how the duties are connected to our mind? I mean to say, you said we need to perform duties. Right? So, if we perform duties without expectation or how it is told, does that purify our mind?
No. Mind needs clarity always.
Yeah.
Now I need to go to my aunt's house. Now my kids are waiting to play with me. Now I have some movie in my Amazon Prime. But if at all I don't know what is my duty now, what things I'll perform, what output I may get, yes, I'll be confused or I may take something else. And all mess up will happen. So what is important for my mind is to have a clarity of my duty. Whenever I have clarity of my duty, I can start prioritizing the things so that I'll be always on a right track rather than regretting and having a good feeling.
Okay. So by practicing duty, does our mind get purified with the unwanted thoughts, which are generally pop up? Okay. Does that work in that way?
Okay. When you have time, idle mind is devil's workshop, right? When you have enough time for your mind to think about, all the data will be processed. When you are busy, your mind is engaged in some work, you tell me unwanted thoughts will bother you.
No, that won't bother. But they exist there. They are not cleared.
See, your mind is a database. Your eyes will transform all the data into your head. Your ears will transform all the data. All the data is there, but which is coming into your conscious mind when you focus on it.
Yeah.
So you should
Okay.
not give the chance to your mind because it's not your priority. What is your priority? Because when you don't perform your dharma, the things will get worsted.
Correct, correct. The things which are in the mind will pop up and we start doing that. But I'm asking the same question again. If we keep on doing that, does it purify our mind permanently?
What do you mean by
Anything-
purification? What do you mean by purification?
Yeah, I mean to say that the type of mind we have, like a reacting mind or emotional mind or whatever kind of mind or we are programmed since our childhood, will that can be changed by performing duty?
Definitely, because we have a reactive mind because we have expectations.
Okay.
We have a reactive mind because we have filters in that. And duty is certain thing where we have a clarity that this is what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
And when you know this is what I'm supposed to do, when you are doing it, then there will be no expectations. When no expectations are there, then you will not feel disappointed for anything, and no extra unwanted stuff is gathered in your mind.
Okay.
And
During
when
that
you-
time.
Yeah, and when you know this is what I'm supposed to do and you have done that, you will have that feel of achieving or something. When you have doing something to others, you have compassion and love in your heart, which actually makes you to live in the present moment.
Okay, okay. That will be like a practice.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
My pleasure. So shall we wind up for today? Kindly make note of doubts. We'll catch up next week. And first 15 minutes, we'll clarify the doubts and we'll finish the other slokas. So we will do Shanti Mantra.
Thank you so much for that.
My
And
pleasure.
appreciate your patience to deal with
Thank
us
you, ma'am.
with all questions.
No. It's my pleasure. I enjoyed really. Sarvesham swastirбhavatu. Sarvesham santirbhavatu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, sir. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Wish you all the same.